Hey guys, it's Prince Rich with Rich Technology Group, and in today's video, we're going to do a quick hands-on review and first impressions of the Nextiva X-885 IP Phone. Now, this is a desk phone, but from what I could see so far in the research I've done on this phone, without opening the box, this is going to be a first-time opening that you guys get to see because I've not seen what's in this box, but from the research that I've done online, this looks like this is like their cream of the crop, most feature-rich phone on their website that you can get with Nextiva that is a Nextiva brand phone. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of background research on, what I found out on this phone, why I want to review this, and then we're going to jump into this box and see what we got. Okay, so what you're looking at here is Nextiva's website. You go to their website, you look at their voice over IP desk phones, you scroll down a little bit, you can see all the different phones that they support, like Polycoms that you can purchase from them, the Nextivas. There's some Ciscos in here and more. And you get down here to Nextiva X-885. Now, from what I could gather out of all of the Nextiva phones, of the typical desk phones, the cordless are a whole nother animal, but for the typical desk phones, this is the most expensive one that they have, which regular price is $269.99, but it retails for about $189.99 for the phone. Now, I'm sure you can get a little lower than this if you're looking at an agreement with Nextiva and you need more than one of these, but these are just baseline prices, so don't take me to the bank on this. But I thought, you know what? I have a whole box of the entire line of Nextiva brand IP phones that they sent us over for review on YouTube, and I thought if I'm going to start with one of the desk phones, because we've done some of the cordless phones, and also a really weird wireless and cordless desktop one that they had, which I won't get into that. It was a strange but interesting animal. This seems to be like their cream of the crop of the desk phone, so I'm actually pretty excited about jumping into this and seeing what this thing is all about. So let's hop into this, see what we got in the box. I'll give you guys the specifications, and then I'll give you my honest pros and cons on what I think of it before we wrap this video up. All right, so here we are. Manufacturer Nextiva, common name X-885, model product number or manufacturer product number X-885. Let's get your MAC address and all that stuff. So let's see what we got here. All right, so this obviously is probably our phone here. Yep. Clearly, that looks like it has a color LED or LCD screen. And this also looks like it has a digital. Oh, I'm liking this already, you guys. This is looking like it has a digital mini expansion card for shared line appearance, additional lines, quick transfer, things like that. So I'm liking what I see already. But before we hop into that, let's see what else we got in the box. All right, looks like we have our mounting bracket here, which, like I said, we'll assemble all that in a little bit. Not your mounting bracket, but your stand, I'm sorry, to sit it up on the desk at your preferred angle. You've got your, your analog type cord for your receiver here, of course. The actual receiver that cord would connect to, right here. Power adapter. Now, you guys know that I always say that power adapters are really hard to get with IP phones. Since this is a Nextiva brand phone and it's coming from Nextiva, I would only assume that a power adapter would be included. I don't believe that you can buy these phones separately outside of Nextiva from like an Amazon or anything like that, but the only reason I bring that up is because normally for those of you who frequent the channel and you watch my reviews, you know that power supplies do not come with IP phones if you get them through a third-party source other than the service provider. But this is kind of an exception because since this is a Nextiva brand phone and it's coming from the service provider, Nextiva, I kind of assume that a power supply would be in here, so that's a nice touch. Last but not least, it looks like we've got our Ethernet cable in here to connect it to your network switch or router. So let's put this thing together and see what we got. All right, I have seen these mounting brackets before, and these things I always have never really cared much for. Just the way that they orient and the way that you have to do them really is different to me. It could just be me, but yeah, clearly I did not do that right. So Well, while I'm trying to figure this out, it is wall mountable. Even though I don't have the wall mounting bracket in here, this is the wall mounting part here. So maybe you have to get that separately from Nextiva, but we'll figure this out here. I can feel it. We got this. Okay, yeah, I'm going to pause this until I figure this out. I'm clearly directionally challenged with this stand. Okay, so it goes like this, you guys. Shorter side of the bracket, or shorter end of the angle. You go downwards into it like that, and then there you have it. I don't believe that you can adjust this, so it looks like what you see size is what you get, but there might be a way to adjust it. Maybe it's looking like there actually might be in there, but I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right thing, but whatever. So there's that. Let's keep going. The other Nextiva phone that we reviewed, I forget the exact name of it, but I will tag it in this video if you want to see it. It was a very interesting phone and much bigger than this one. It was the same. It took me a while to figure out just how the heck to get the mounting bracket on, but I'm not saying that that's, you know, good or bad for this particular phone. I mean, once you get the mounting bracket on, the mounting bracket is on. There really shouldn't be any other function or cause for you to have to really go mess with that. All right, so I think we are there. I'm going to go ahead and power this thing on. Well, actually, you know what? Before we power it on, let's talk a little bit about, well, you know what? Never mind. We're going to power it on. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging in limbo and in suspense. Why not? So the Ethernet port was actually like kind of hiding from me. I don't know if you guys can see that in there, but it's actually kind of like upwards under the bracket. I was looking all over trying to figure out where to go to connect this thing to Ethernet, and there you have it. That's what we got going on there. So let's go ahead and plug that in. I see that each one shows like a network. Okay. It's a little hard to see. One says network, one says PC, but they both have the... Come on. There we go. All right. So yes, we have confirmed it is PoE capable. I was going to tell you guys, but it's pretty obvious at this point. Nextiva has a partnership with VTech and Snome. Snome being the business division of VTech. Everybody knows what VTech is. That's a household name, but also a business communications and hardware name that's been around for eons, since before I even got into this business. And VTech is the manufacturer for all of the Nextiva brand phones. So for those of you who frequent this channel, you know that we've also done some reviews and still have many more reviews to do, because I've got a giant box of VTech brand phones as well that don't just work with Nextiva, but work with some other providers as well. But anyways, so we're powering up. I like it. The screen on it, let's pull that film off there for you guys. The screen on it is actually really nice. It is not the most high definition LED or OLED screen that I've ever seen, but you know, unless you plan on watching movies on your phone, I don't think that's really a big deal. Let's just jump into some of the features while this thing is booting up. So, the Nextiva X-885 is a 12-line capable phone, so you can talk on up to 12 lines at a time. Let's see here. It has multi-page approach as well, which allows you to add more programmable keys. Let's jump into the deeper specs. It's got a color LCD, so now we know it's not LED or OLED, it's color LCD. It has a 4.3-inch screen. It is PoE capable, which we already know. It does have dual gigabit Ethernet ports, which you saw on the back a minute ago, which basically allows you to be able to plug in with the cable like you saw me do here for your internet connectivity for the phone, but also come out to a second device that you need to give intranet. The funny thing that I see here in the specs, well, there's something cool I just saw in the specs. We'll get down to that in a minute. It does say that it's Wi-Fi capable, but that is with an additional USB dongle. So, yes. I was thinking, because based on what I saw on their website, I'll let you see, that it says Wi-Fi by the logo there. I was under the impression that the Wi-Fi would be built in, but unless I'm mistaken, it looks like you do have to have a dongle in order to connect with Wi-Fi. So that's a little bit of a downfall or a little bit of a con if what I'm seeing there is correct. Back to our specifications. It does offer speed dialing. Headset jack input is RJ9. It does also have one USB port, so you can connect via USB that way. I do not believe that this thing supports Bluetooth, so I don't think that you're going to be able to connect a Bluetooth headset to it. It does say that it is expansion module capable, and it actually says that it's capable for up to 3 expansion modules, and that is just a triple wow right there, that you can connect 3 expansion modules to this thing. That's just crazy when you think about not only how many external line and transfer capability that gives you, but that's crazy when you think of how crazy that would look with having 3 expansion modules off to the right or left of this phone. I would almost love to see an image of what that looks like, just to see what that would be like and it actually connected up and working. So get this, guys. This was one detail that I just found on this thing that's actually really interesting, and that is this thing, when you purchase it through Nextiva, has a 3-year warranty on it. That's unbelievable because most phones that I've seen in the industry have a 1-year warranty standard on them when you purchase them through the service provider, i.e. Polycom or Cisco, or, maybe a VTech with another phone. Maybe it's a VTech thing, I don't know, but that's a 3-year hardware warranty when you purchase this with Nextiva. And it says if you do it on a rental, meaning you don't buy it outright, you're just paying a small monthly fee to essentially lease the phone with Nextiva, you have a lifetime warranty on this hardware. Okay, so to get into my thoughts on what I think about this thing so far. Well, first of all, it's still trying to do a firmware update. Can't blame the phone or Nextiva or VTech for that. This update looks like it's going to take a while. So it doesn't look like that I can get into the system, but that's okay. It's doing this update, and I may pause this so we can see what's in the system here in a little bit because I want to see the screen. We will. I'll let it update, and we'll come back for the pros and cons. But first and foremost, let's go over interfaces and the buttons and all that kind of stuff. It's got your typical function key menu up top. So I would assume once this is done updating and it gets to its screen, you've got things like home, contacts, caller ID history, so on and so forth. And these function keys, of course, will change as you flow throughout the menus. It's got your do not disturb button right here. Easy to push. I would assume that when you press that, it's going to change something up here, but we'll check that later. You've got your X out or your decline and then your accept buttons here, which is, typical. It does have a directional pad here, and then it has a button in the middle that actually pushes in, which probably acts similarly to your OK or checkbox button here. You got your voicemail retrieve button here, which I'm assuming when you press this, it goes to your voicemail box, or it may have visual voicemail. We're going to find out. Directory, settings, transfer a call, put a call on hold. That's pretty typical. Your keypad here, which is pretty typical. Your volume up and down, your speaker, your headset to turn your headset on and off, mute button, and then your pages over here. Okay, now we know what this is talking about kind of like your shared line appearance or your call park, thing over here. You can have multiple pages. So that's actually really nice to be able to move back and forth and have multiple pages here. The phone is restarting, but while it's doing that, let's go ahead and look at some of the interfaces on here on the back. Okay, so I temporarily took our mounting bracket off so that we can look at the interfaces here. Okay, on the back for our interfaces, you've got your RJ9 port here, which would essentially be, that's either an RJ9 port or that's an auxiliary port. Okay, I'm sorry. Correction. Here is your RJ9 for your headset. Oh, wait, I got it in the wrong one. Boy, I tell you. Receiver for the phone. Now you've got the one for your headset, if you guys can see that little symbol there for headsets. Over here is a port that is used for auxiliary to be able to connect to an expansion card like we talked about earlier. Here is your PoE port for your internet coming in, which is how we're getting our power in our internet. Here is your second gigabit Ethernet port for going out externally for a pass-through to another internet-capable device. And here is where your power adapter that I showed you guys earlier, which came in the box, thank God, for that. But we don't need to use that since we're using PoE. As I mentioned just in passing earlier, but I wanted to throw it out there again, this is a wall mountable phone. We do not have the wall mount bracket in this box, so that's probably a separate thing that you have to get from Nextiva to be able to connect to the wall. But this is definitely a wall mountable phone because it's got the bracket here. And if you're really brave, you may not even need a bracket for this. It looks like you could probably just throw some screws on the wall and actually mount this way. So I'm not 100% sure if you can just do that just straight up raw with screws, or if you need a mounting bracket to do that safely or right, but it looks like you could do it however you choose. Last but not least, regarding interfaces on this phone, got a USB port here. You can probably use that for an external storage device, but I'm sure you can use that for a headset that is USB compatible. Okay, so what do I think about this thing in the general sense? The screen is decent. It's not bad, but it's not the best. But, you know, this isn't like a super expensive phone. You're talking a phone that's less than $200, whereas a lot of your IP phones that have much better screens than this, that are touchscreen and higher definition resolution, maybe, you know, a lot brighter LED screens, you know, you're talking $300 to $400 and sometimes upwards of $500 to $600 and maybe more for an IP phone. So for what this phone costs, the screen is sufficient. It would work just fine for me. I love the voicemail indicator light, or the flashing like, hey, you've got a call coming in or whatever light up here. It's very bright. It's very notable. I know that sounds silly, but you'd be surprised how many people call me, especially in offices where they cut their ringer off because they're maybe in consultations in a law firm all the time, or consultations in insurance with a customer, or they're in medical and they don't want a patient to have to hear a phone ringing. They rely solely on seeing if that indicator light is flashing to tell them, hey, you've got a call coming in or a voicemail. So I really like how bright and evident that indicator light is. That's a huge plus for me. This shared line appearance kind of side card here, expansion card, is awesome. This is a rare feature that most IP phones do not possess this day and age. You guys may or may not remember, but I reviewed, it's probably the only phone that I've ever reviewed that actually had one of these built in like this. I reviewed a Fanville X5U. I think it was either earlier this year. I think I actually reviewed it in 2020, but we reviewed it again in 2021 because it turned out to still be the #1 most sold phone for Fanville. So it turned up in our top 20. In our top 5 phones for 2021. And part of the reason was because it had this feature. So this puts the Nextiva X-885 in a whole nother class with this shared line appearance card here. That's actually really cool. This is also a nice feature for those of you who are looking to adopt voice over IP, but you still don't want to get rid of some of those old features that you are comfortable with from your old traditional PBX. One of these features being the most asked feature that we're asked for, that people want to maintain when they switch to voice over IP. So that's actually a pretty huge plus there. This phone has a great footprint. It's not too small, which means the buttons are big enough to where they're easy on the eyes. The screen is big enough to where it's good on the eyes, but this phone is not so big like some of the other phones that I've reviewed where it takes up a crap load of desk space. It's right in the middle where it's got all the functions and features that you want on the actual chassis, with buttons that are big, so they're good on the eyes, and you won't mistype. Your fingers will hit them, but it's not so small. It's not so big that it's taking up too much space on your freaking desk. I guess another obvious pro is that if you are a Nextiva fan and you're already using Nextiva, or you're thinking about using Nextiva, you know this phone is going to work with Nextiva. It's a Nextiva brand phone. And the phone is not so expensive that if you ever lose Nextiva, if you ever leave Nextiva, you're going to be leaving behind this giant investment of sorts. It's got a good price point on it. So that wraps up my review, you guys, of Nextiva's X-885 desktop IP phone. I like it. Coming in at a price of just a hair under $200 for what this thing does, I'd say it's a pretty good little phone. The funny thing is you should be able to typically get this phone at a pretty good discount from Nextiva if you've got more than one extension and you're looking to get more than one of these. From what I see, it's a pretty decent phone. I wouldn't say it's the best IP phone I've ever seen out there, but it's not the worst either. It's a decent mid-grade phone, and it's priced very well in comparison to its mid-grade counterparts. The other big thing is for this thing to have 12 simultaneous line capability. That's actually a pretty low price for having a 12-line, capable phone, along with a mini expansion card or a mini shared line appearance card. Is actually pretty cool. If you're watching this video and you're interested in this phone, or more specifically, interested in Nextiva, I can hook you up. I can not only hook you up with my contacts over at Nextiva to show you the platform, coordinate special demos that are based on your business needs and the features that you need. I can even lean on them and get special pricing for you, not only on your monthly service fee, but also on the phone. So if you're interested in Nextiva, below this video, as well as in our comments, there'll be my information there where you can contact us directly by phone or by email or through our website, which is the fastest way to get us, so that we can find out more about your business and see if Nextiva makes sense for your business needs and budget. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please like the video. Also, show us some love. Subscribe to our channel. We've got a goal of trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of this year. As always, this is Prince Rich, your go-to guy for the best deals on business phone and internet service in the United States. I'll catch you guys again in the next video.